Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Pixelated Sausage Show. Hi, 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 hi. Hi, how are y'all doing? Hopefully well. I am, of course, your host, Mark Kuj Nez, and this is going to be a pretty short show. With the start of the new year and bringing back streaming and the surprise return of the anime podcast, Animes in the Baka, way sooner than even I was expecting, I said, well, why not? Why not just get it out there right now? Who needs to wait? Did I bite off more than I can chew? Did I do more than I should? Should I have paced myself? Probably. But here we are. And thus, I don't have too much to talk about. I have quite a few games, but I wasn't able to give them that much time each. So I'll get through them relatively quickly. Those games include Wargroove 2, Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, Reforged, The Holy Gosh Darn, Unsolved Case, Murderous Script, Slam and Roll, and Rivenaar's Grove. But before I get to all that, I have been continuing my rewatch of the Star Wars movies so far. I will eventually make my way to the live action shows, in addition to playing through Jedi Survivor, which I should finish tonight during tonight's stream. If you want to check out any of my streams, twitch.tv/pxsausage. But I think since I know for a fact I'll be finishing the game quite early in this stream, I'm going to play some Battlefront 2 because both Rogue One and Empire Strikes Back have made me want to play some Battlefront 2. So I think that's the plan there. I have thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but I will save those for the Attack the Backlog episodes. The first episode's already recorded. It'll be a little while till you'll get to hear it, because we still have the Hi-Fi Rush episodes coming out these following 2 weeks. And then you'll have Survivor followed by who knows what. Maybe I'll just stick with Star Wars with Battlefront and play through the campaign in Battlefront 2. Don't know how long it is. I don't think it's too long. So that's an idea. And then after that, maybe, what was it? What is it called again? The Outer Worlds. Not Outer Wilds, the Outer Worlds. But I just watched The Force Awakens, and I'm a little bit higher on it than I was the last time I watched it. I remember seeing it in theaters thinking, yeah, that was pretty good. Then I watched it again. I was like, I was annoyed by this when I first saw it, but I'm even more annoyed by it now, how much it is just A New Hope over again. But this time, I think what I'm going to do with my Letterboxd review is just basically say, it's probably one of the safest movies ever made, but it is exactly what Star Wars needed after the prequels and a 10-year drought of any live-action movies. It's not taking any chances. It's not doing anything crazy. The biggest, craziest thing, spoilers if you've not seen it, and if you've not seen it, you don't care. Just shut up. You don't. I didn't mean to say or tell you to shut up, but seriously. Star Wars is humongous, and if you cared, you would have seen The Force Awakens by now. But the biggest thing they probably did, the riskiest thing, if you want to call it a risk, is killing Han. But based on the way people talked about it, it sounded like maybe, what's his name, Harrison Ford said, I'll come back for this movie, but you got to kill me off so I don't have to ever do this shit ever again. I'm sick of this shit. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. So I'll come back, I'll play ball, and then that'll be it, all right? And I think The Force Awakens did come out at the perfect time for Harrison Ford to return. And even the others as well, but especially Harrison Ford, because I think he was still not quite at the too old for this type of shit age. In Dial of Destiny, he is too old to be making that kind of movie. It suffers from watching this old man run around, and he looks so old. and they have that whole opening intro with the young version of him. Then it comes to present day for him in the timeline, whenever that is exactly. I don't remember. But you come back to him at his current age. And I don't know why they decided, I said this before when I talked about Dial of Destiny. Why go from young Harrison Ford to not only old Harrison Ford, but old shirtless? Was he shirtless or in a tank top? Either way, I think he was shirtless. That wasn't doing him many favors. I'm sorry, Harrison Ford. I don't mean anything by it. You're just old. You know you're old. And now we all know you're really, really old. So just stick to stuff like that Apple TV Plus show where you get to be cranky just like you are in real life. All right? I've not seen it. I've heard great things. I'll probably never see it because Apple TV. Put your stuff out on Blu-ray or UHD or both. And then I'll watch your stuff. Give me my fucking Tetris movie. Sons of bitches. But it's been a pretty up and down ride with the Star Wars stuff. I'm 7 episodes into the Clone Wars now, the animated series, and it's getting okay-ish, I guess, but I'm still not that into it. But I'm excited to finally be watching the new trilogy again, and then I don't even know. I'll probably just jump right into the live action series, but at the same time, I'm already feeling kind of burnt out because I am watching the animated show. I'm watching the live action stuff, playing Survivor. And I'll give you one spoiler about Survivor. It's too fucking long. Way too long. Way too long. Jesus Christ. I can't believe I'm still playing it. But other than that, just keeping very, very busy. Exhausted. But exhausted in a... I won't say in a good way, but I am exhausted while not feeling overwhelmed, if that makes sense. I'm so tired, but I'm not tired and then also have all these things on the back burner that I still need to do. I'm tired, but productive. It's a 2-lane street? I don't know. But if you want to check out the anime show, get on Amazingly Baka. It's finally back. I'm pretty sure I fixed all the feed details, and it's on the usual platforms for audio listeners. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify. All my shows are on Pandora too. I don't really know how well that does. I don't really check the numbers there. And then it's also YouTube, of course, obviously, but Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore. Stitcher Radio doesn't exist anymore. But the main places people listen to podcasts, it's there. And if it isn't, tell me where that is and I'll fix it. Let us just get on to what I've been playing. Call this a short episode and enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And then, yeah, I don't know. Again, I am exhausted. So, Wargroove 2. This is a turn-based tactics game, very much in the vein of Advance Wars if you've played those games, where you have a number of troops and you are trying to defeat the enemy, whether that be via killing their captain or destroying their base. Those are the two ways in which you can achieve victory so far in what I've played. Played through the opening area, the tutorial area, and now have a handful of campaigns that are open up, but I just stuck with the beginner campaign, as they suggest, because it's been a while since I've played the first game. Great art. Decent story. There's a fair amount of it. You can skip it, so you're not forced to engage with it, but if you do, There's quite a bit of talking and all that jazz early on and maybe all the time. So that may be a turnoff for some, but again, you can just skip it. It's not explaining. They will explain in the tutorial stuff and whatnot. They will explain what you should do and get you to do certain things while you're playing, so you don't have to worry about missing anything important during the story bits. But so far, it's solid. I can't speak to its differences from the first game. I'm not sure if the first game had the asynchronous play, which I haven't tried yet, but I know my one friend has talked about wanting to do it because there aren't that many games that offer this ability, just inherent in the way that you would have to be a turn-based game to do it, but where you can make a turn and then your friend can make their turn hours later. You don't have to be online at the same time, so games can you play at your own pace when you're free. That's always nice. I know there's probably the one unique or the main unique aspect that this game adds is this conquest roguelike or light mode, which I have not tried, but I'm interested in because I like these types of games. I like tactics over strategy games because they're more focused, they're smaller scale, and they allow you to, in my opinion, better strategize what to do. I feel like with your bigger battle real-time strategy games, it's just, and I know there is a lot more there's plenty of strategy in those and whatnot, but they just feel way more throwing mud at a wall. I don't know how else to describe it. Whereas in tactics, I feel like I can get way more granular with things and specific and focused, and I like that. And it's also because it's a smaller scale, it's much easier to wrap your head around everything. And you don't have this giant battlefield where you're scrolling around and then things are happening off screen that you can't see. And then, of course, the turn-based stuff makes it more manageable as well. But the basic way it works, if you've not played a game like this, you're moving your crew, your squad members, your squad mates. What is the word? Your troops. That's the word I was looking for, troops. So on your turn, you're moving all your troops around. They have a specific amount of spaces they can move, and then you have various abilities you can do, attacking and whatnot, and they will have bonuses they can do. A swordsman will do extra damage if they're next to the captain. The bowman will do more damage if they attack without moving. There's terrain stuff to worry about. If you're high, low, in water or whatnot, you'll get bonuses and negatives. You get pros and cons from all that. Pretty simple stuff. And so far in what I've played, but it's early on, so it's hard to tell really, the missions haven't been super long. I remember that being an issue with the first game where games could go on for over an hour, and that is quite a bit. But so far, so good. I am looking forward to checking out the Conquest mode and the asynchronous multiplayer. But so far, solid little thing. Might be on Game Pass, I'm not sure. But that is Wargroove 2. Then Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars Reforged. This is a remaster, I guess you'd call it, not really a remake. Just a very strong prettyization and cleaning up of certain things of Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, an old point-and-click adventure game. It now has really beautiful high-res hand-drawn art that looks really, really nice. And I believe redone music, because they say something about redoing the audio. But one thing is clear, it looks great. There are a lot of accessibility options there. You can play it like a classic point-and-click adventure game, because this is an old point-and-click adventure game with a lot of just clicking everywhere, collecting stuff, and then just brute forcing certain puzzles where you get to a roadblock, you're trying to figure out what you need to do, and then you just try every object with this thing or that thing. There's a lot of that going on where things don't exactly make sense. One of the earliest ones I would say isn't the most obvious thing you'd have to do is you want to get a tool, and this guy working construction won't let you. You gotta distract him in some way, get him away. But what you have to do is give him the newspaper so that he'll go through the whole fucking thing. It's like, oh, this thing is happening. Oh, this stupid ass politician. Oh, what do you expect, right? Oh, look, the weather's going to be cloudy tomorrow. Well, that's going to be nice, huh? And then eventually he gets to the horse races. Ooh, this fucking amazing horse is racing. I need to put some money down. Can you watch my stuff while I go and place a bet? And that's how you get him to go. But why would you think of that? Really? So there's plenty of stuff like that. But if you want to make it a lot simpler, the puzzle system, the hint system, depending on how you start the game with the difficulty and all that, you're able to get a handful of hints that are more and more specific. So the first hint might tell you which area you need to be in to get the next clue or to progress the story. Then the next clue might tell you who you need to interact with or what you need to interact with. And then the final clue will just tell you exactly what you need to do, which is nice. It allows you to gradually get where you need to go. And if you keep needing help, it'll give you more and more details until eventually just telling you what you need to do. Because sometimes you just want the answer. You don't want to keep getting hints around the answer. Just give me the answer. I've asked you for hints enough times. Just give me the answer. You can also switch between the original graphics and the new graphics at any time, which is always appreciated in games like this, where it's just basically a new skin over the original foundation. And I remember playing this game back in the day, and because I used to play point-and-click adventures more back in the day when I had more patience and didn't mind dealing with the brute force nature of a lot of them, how they're designed. It's a very good one of these. The story, the characters, a lot of fun. It's a really strong point-and-click adventure game. The one thing though, the visuals have been upgraded. Yes. Accessibility options, very good. Yes. The audio is just, from what I can tell, the same audio from the original game, because it sounds not great. And that's not really that big of an issue. It just stands out as being and feeling old when everything else feels relatively fresh. So there is this kind of weird disconnect because of that. But outside of that specific issue, I think it's a really solid remaster. And if you're a fan of point-and-click adventure games, you never played it, definitely worth checking out. And if you are a fan of the game already and have not checked this out already, absolutely worth checking out. Revisiting it with a new coat of paint. And yeah. Then continuing the point-and-click adventure type of game, we have the Holy Gosh Darn, which is more of a move and interact game where you have direct control over your character and you're moving around, you can jump. But it's side-scrolling, you're still interacting with the world in a very point-and-click adventure-esque way. I remember the previous game in this thing, not liking it. What I'll say about this one is that it does feel like the production values have increased. The character designs, solid, not exactly my style, but they're well done for what they are. Animation's lively, good expression of the characters. The voice acting is good, and the gameplay is fine. Gameplay is pretty basic stuff. However, what I didn't like about the one I played prior, which may be I don't know if this is the second game or whatnot, how many games there have been. But what turned me off about the last one was the humor. It didn't work for me at all. And that continues here, because you play, I don't remember your name, But then you have Azrael, who is the skull dude, the skeleton dude that you'll see in the key art. And he quickly just becomes this spirit or something that is always in your ear. He's not tangible in the world following around, but you can always hear him. And he's incredibly annoying. If you want to know, he's like Poochie or something from The Simpsons. Going, yo, 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 for real, yo. Let's do this and take care of the biz, am I right? That's how he talks. All the time. And if you don't mind that, maybe it's worth checking out. But if you're like me and you find that incredibly annoying and don't want to deal with someone who talks like that for even just a few minutes, the holy gosh darn is just, it's not for you. And I was reminded of that when I started playing this. But again, if you don't mind yo yo yo, check it out. But I only like yo-yos. I don't like yo-yo-yos. Give me 2 yo-yos. Well, give me 2 yo-yos. I'll do them on both hands. But just give me the yo-yo, not the yo-yo-yo. Then, continuing with the point-and-click adventure style of game, we have Unsolved Case, Murderous Script. But this is more of a hidden object game. Or, ultimately, if you're really thinking about it, it's just a point-and-click adventure game stripped of a lot of the extra stuff, and it's just about being in these environments and clicking around, finding objects, and then occasionally using them to interact with other things, getting a bit of story and whatnot. And it's fine. It's fine. There are many games of this ilk, and the weird thing about them is I look at them. It's relatively cheap too. I think it's $7 for 4 cases, 3 main cases, 1 bonus case. That'll take you, be conservative, an hour, probably less, but could take you an hour depending on how long it takes you to do this or that, which is a very, very decent bang for your buck. But I look at games like this and I think the audience for this is very specific, very small likely, and also likely unchanging. Those who like these games know who they are, they exist, and they're not getting a lot added to that community over the years. They're the people who like these games, and those people who like these games know all of them that exist when they come out and probably get them right away, because it's not like they're getting fed these all the time. On PC, surely, because I'm playing this on Xbox, but on Xbox, maybe get one of these a month. Maybe they're more than that, but it's solid. The thing about it is that you'll play through it, no replayability. You're done. It's fine. The story I don't think is super engaging or interesting, though. You can just skip through all that, which will definitely shorten the amount of time it takes you to complete a case. It's solid. Does the job. It is, again, Unsolved Case, Murderous Script. Then Slam and Roll is an arcade game where you play a sports-themed character. I only have 2 unlocked so far. And you can play through a turn mode, an arcade mode. Eventually you can unlock a hard arcade mode, or I forget what it was called, but a challenge mode, essentially. And the goal is to, in these single area, 2D, side-scrolling, not exactly single screen all the time, but very small screens, small spaces. You have a number of enemies that are in the environment, and you are hitting them with your sport of choice. So I was playing as the hockey dude, so I would hit them with my puck, and hitting them multiple times over and over again, you build up the roll of them, the ball nature of them, and then when you have them at the max level, or you could do it early if you want, you slam them, essentially, and then send them rolling, and if they hit one of the other enemies, they'll take them out, and the enemies will then drop some kind of perk for you, whether it's something that'll help you do your job or a donut or something like that that'll give you bonus points. And you're just trying to clear out the enemies of a level. Pretty simple premise, simple controls, though it defaults to having, I think, jump on the B button. And then if you change the control, so A is jump and X is attack, Y is your special, then A becomes back in the menu and X becomes A, and then the select button becomes the start button. And I think the way they handle alternate control schemes is very weird. I don't like it. But the gameplay itself got old pretty fast, and I didn't really like it from the start. It's unique, I guess. It just didn't quite grab me. I appreciate games of this nature going after that old school classic arcade vibe, because it feels like something that gameplay wise wouldn't be something that would be out of place in the 80s, for instance. But it just isn't quite there. It doesn't quite have that special sauce. That is Slam and Roll. And then Rivenaar's Grove is... do we call these Sokoban? Because now I'm forgetting. They're Sokoban games. Ones where you move with your momentum until you hit a wall or something that stops you? Or is that when you're hitting objects and moving them around? Or are they one and the same? Either way, this is one where you have a small pass and your character moves along the path until they hit a wall where they can't move anymore, and then you send them off in another direction. There are a lot of paths, but then a few opener areas. But ultimately, it's a pretty straightforward puzzle game, 50 levels. You can make it more challenging by playing in the timed mode or the limited move mode, but there's really no reason to, because classic mode, which gives you unlimited moves and unlimited time, is the way you get achievements. I got all the achievements in less than 30 minutes, probably, and it wasn't challenging at all. They spice it up as you keep playing by adding these portals that you go through one, you come out the other one, and then cactuses that'll come out from the ground every now and again. But ultimately, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, like I said, a lot of single lane paths, so it's not even a question of where you need to go or how you need to solve a puzzle, solve a level. So it's kind of disappointing in that space. But if you want easy achievements, Rivenaar's Grove is perfect. You'll get them very fast, and you won't even need a guide because it's super, super, super simple. So that is it for what I've been playing, and that's it for the show. Like I said, it's gonna be a short show. I'm, again, one last time, exhausted, but hopefully you still had a good time with this episode and are enjoying all the other stuff. I hope the change, the adjustment, it's not a drastic change. I don't want to act like it's humongous change or anything. But when you'll see the Star Wars Jedi Survivor episodes, I hope you enjoy the new look and vibe of Attack the Backlog. Again, not a huge change. If you're a fan of anime, again, Animes in the Baka is back. I talked about everything I watched in 2024 on the episode and a little idea of what to expect from that podcast, which is basically just probably going to be weekly, shorter episodes that I'm talking about what I watched over the past week, and if there's any news that stood out, bring that up. But it's going to be a relatively simple, straightforward anime show. I don't think it'll be super... It'll be topical in that it's covering things that are happening now and also some backlog things, but I don't think I'll get as specific with it as we used to do, where we'd pick a show and then we'd cover that specific show, because that just would take too much time to do. But that's back. And then, of course, streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/pxsausage. If you want to join in on those, they happen not a specific time every weekday evening, but you can expect them in the weekday evening from anywhere starting as soon as 6 p.m. Central Time, but probably more in that 7 range, and then going to 10:30, 11. So if you want to partake in any of those are over on Twitch. But that is it. That is all. I am, again, your host, Mark Krishnez. If you enjoyed this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/pxs. There you get access to a monthly Q&A, the occasional watch party, a private Discord channel, fancy Discord roles, and a random drop here and there, depending on your tier, of course. Or you can just support me if that is your fancy. That's again patreon.com/pxs. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, Twitch, Onolist, so much more. Every link you could ever possibly want to link, the linky link, over at pxsausage.com. That is again pxsausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have both a wonderful rest of your day, a lovely rest of your week, and a wonderful weekend. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye.
It's go time. Go, Daddy.